Hey YouTube, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Received a new toy, a 1/18th RC Jeep with really nice hardbody. The EazyRC Arizona, FMS EazyRC. Yes, you do already know the Patreon or Patriot with the Toyota hardbody, same as the Rock Hobby Katana body. And that's the new truck from EazyRC. Really nice body with molded plastic pieces, door handles, mirrors, wipers, grill. Quite awesome. And I thought, and probably most of you thought this too, that's the Patreon or Patriot, only with a new body, but that's not totally true. It comes very nicely boxed as the Patreon Patriot. One box, and inside pretty box with pictures. Really nicely made. Here, description, if you want to believe what's realistic pinion and ring gear axle, high torque transmission with 84:1, 30 minutes of runtime, chassis mounted servo. Remote control. And inside it comes also extremely nicely packed, securely packed as the Patreon Patriot. But you won't get this remote, this radio that's shown on the box. You will get the same radio in matching color to the Arizona in orange. Same cheap toyish radio, not very good, doesn't have a lot of adjustments, only steering trim, throttle trim on off, not more. So electronics as in the Patreon, something to be exchanged. Furthermore, you get only a wrench out of metal and a USB charger, some instructions we won't read, and wow, yes, I agree. But there's something missing. Probably most of you did already ask themselves, why does it have tinted dark windows? Well, that's missing. That's the awesome interior of the Patreon, and the Arizona does not come with an interior, unfortunately. Hood opens, and it does come only with one LiPo, the same as in the Patriot, only a 380 milliamp hours 2S LiPo with that typical LOSI style plug, and electronics are the cheap electronics as in the Patriot, so that's why it's so much cheaper than the Rock Hobby Katana. One would think that's the same truck as the Hobby Plus 1/18th Kratos Jeep, only with hard body, but that's not totally true. Check this out. The Arizona is significantly larger, and check this out. The Kratos does have the same wheelbase as the Patriot and the Rock Hobby Katana, and the Arizona does have a slightly larger wheelbase, about 1 centimeter longer. So that's a big difference to the Patreon 2. Here I do have the chassis of the Patreon, and you can see significantly larger wheelbase, all those 1 to 18th Hobby Plus trucks, Rock Hobby Katana, Atlas 6x6, to have 155mm of wheelbase, and the Arizona does have about 168, so it's more than 1 centimeter longer, and that's a big difference. Same tires, same wheels, beadlock wheels as the Patriot and the Rock Hobby Katana. And yeah, let's test it. Let's switch it on. On-off switches inside here. Electronics are not waterproof. And what do we see here? There is no switch for the lights, but it does have lights. Yes, lights are only on when the car is driving forward, the front lights, and if it's driving backwards, the rear lights. So not very nice, and it does also have turning lights, and those are always on when you are turning, so that's something I do not really like. How does it run? It's by far not as loud as the Katana. It can climb quite nicely. So not really bad, even if that's cheap electronics. Makes a bit of noise, but this truck is that cheap, about 100 bucks only. No complaint. The Kratos with the not hard body, with Lexan body, is far more expensive than the Arizona. How does it climb? Of course, it cannot climb really steep inclines because of its heavy body, but that's not that bad. That's 45 degrees. Will it do? That's 45 degrees. Will it do 45? Yeah, it will do 45 degrees. And more. Come on, what's beeping here all the time? Boing. So it's not an awesome climber. What's that? Radio is complaining. Okay. Shocks seem to be the same, are the same as in the Patreon, so that's really nice. They are not super good out of the box, but you can do an oil-filled shock mod. I made a video about this in the Patreon. That's awesome. The shocks are, because of this, much better than the shocks of the Rock Hobby Katana and all the Hobby Plus CR18s and CR24s. In stock condition, they are quite shaky. And low speed control is not the best, but not the worst. So what I really like is the beautiful body. What's really a pity is that it does not have an interior as the Patriot. Of course, those lights are a no-go. Nobody needs those turning lights, I guess. But it's a perfect truck for modifications, I think, for upgrading beadlock wheels, nice shocks. So let's check what's inside. Let's take the body off. So body off. They use mainly Phillips head screws, but also some 1.5mm hex screws. Can take a closer look at the body. Wires for lights are nicely hidden. Here's the battery, and take a look at the front grille. That's really, really nice. I don't know if you can see this. Really, really nicely made. Cheapo electronics. Let's switch it off. Fully functional spare tire. Here, and that's a pity. Inside, no interior as in the Patriot, but simply this plate, mud fenders, nice too, but it would have been much nicer if it would have had a full interior, so, and more translucent windows so that you can put the driver figure inside. However, if you like Jeeps, I guess you will also like this body. And the chassis, as in the Patriot, it's plastic frames, but there's a big difference. The chassis of the Patriot is longer. The chassis rails are longer than in the Arizona. That's quite strange. Check this out. The Arizona here does have a longer wheelbase, but the chassis rails are significantly longer in the Patriot here. Lined up more or less. So the chassis rails of the Patriot and here, and the chassis rails of the Arizona and here. Same nice beadlock wheels, so without foams inside, but easy to modify with some weights. So here are the nice tires, no foams inside. The plastic beadlock wheels, exactly the same as in the Rock Hobby Katana. Super nice stuff. Those are a little bit larger than the normal Hobby Plus 1/18 wheels, so you see they have about 28 mil in diameter, whatever in inch, I don't know, and the normal rims of the Hobby Plus trucks do only have about 24 mil, little bit less than 1 inch. Easy to put weights inside. Those are the super nice shocks. They don't work very well, but you can screw the cap, and that's why you can make a nice and easy oil-filled shock mod what gives a huge performance upgrade and makes those shocks work really well. So disassembled a little bit more. Check this out. Central transmission. Of course bushings and no ball bearings, but really nicely lubricated. Seems to be very well done. Drive shafts, plastic, sturdy. And the axles. Of course bushing inside here too, but check this out. Nicely made. No dog bones. Universal steering. Really nice. And that's a ball bearing, the large one here. That's no bushing. Outside there's a bushing. And I have to say, I like this. Come on. Okay. So really nicely made, lubricated. Wow. Thumbs up for this. What else to show? Not a lot. The 5-wire servo, of course, it has to go. I will, you see that typical 9-11 gram, that's an Emax servo. They will fit fine. And wow, super body. What a pity that it doesn't have an interior. Crappy electronics, but everybody knew this before. Quite nicely made inside, and I will reassemble it now, my EazyRC Arizona, but I will not reassemble it with stock parts. So I will put ball bearings inside, probably that's not necessary, and I will change the electronics. I will put better electronics inside, probably no light controller, a simple on-off switch for front and rear lights. Nobody needs turning lights here, that's too much effort. I will put weights into the tires, and of course I will make the oil-filled shock mod. And with one of my good small ESCs, this should be quite an awesome crawler. So this Arizona drove in stock setup less than 1 minute. But I like it, and since it's already here, you will probably see my fully modded EazyRC Arizona with better electronics, oil shocks and weighted tires soon. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Hope to see you in the next video. I'll be back.